This meeting is being recorded by the Community Relations Committee. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Okay, it doesn't appear to
President
be.
Wondolowski, the
Yeah, I
video
got
is
it. I
not
got it.
on.
Sorry, that's my fault. I got it now.
Hello.
Cracking under the pressure.
Trying very hard here. All right. So our first order of business tonight, and thank you everybody who came, public there, public here, public everywhere. Our first order of business is the roll call of members. I don't see any of our counselors online, so we can do, after this, if we have any votes, then we can do it just by yay or nay. So, Counselor Wondolowski, yes, I am here. Counselor Gilmore. Counselor Brown. Here. Counselor Minhas. And Counselor Perry.
Here.
Fantastic. I should know this. I've heard differing things of whether or not we need 3 or 4 for quorum. So I know we've got majority, so I'm just going to say we have quorum. And if I'm wrong, we'll get in trouble later. And one of you will report me to open meeting law and
Stand outside with the red flag.
So first thing we need to do is the approval of the minutes. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes from February 24th, 2025?
Make that motion.
Thank you. Second. Great, that makes it so easy. Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. Great, minutes are approved. All right. So the next order of business is our public comment period. And just to review everybody who's new to public comment, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. And when you make your comments, you just have your name and address if you have one. We will do the people in the room first, and then we'll go to the Zoom room. And so if you're on Zoom, just put it into comments that you want to speak, and then we will recognize folks. So it is 6:04 and we are starting public comment right now. Can I get the list? Thank you so much. All right. So first person I have on the list is Christy Allen. Christy. And if you want to just come up and sit at the seat, only because then the remote people can hear you better.
Okay. So wait, I'm just doing what now?
You can say if you have something that you want to share with everybody, then
Hi there, this is Christy Allen. I am currently here to share the fact on regards of all of the homeless people for if there is a chance that we could maybe find a way for us to be able to use abandoned buildings for the homeless people to be able to live in and be able to fix them up with the amount of different types of homeless people that we have on the streets. I was figuring that that might be a really good solution for helping everybody else who are also in homes. It would probably cause a lot less chaos due to us being able to grow things and being able to go out to the stores and efficiently being able to use our money and food stamps in the same way that everybody else is able to use them. That's everything I want to bring up.
okay.
Very nice.
Thank you so much for sharing. We really appreciate it. The flooding.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The other reason I also wanted to bring it up too is to the fact that both spots where we are being asked to be put are both flood zones as well, which makes it extremely uncomfortable and extremely insecure for us or our stuff, let alone our stuff being outside in tents, where our tents can be ripped open and broken into, where our stuff can be stolen.
Next up I have Zoe Smith.
I'll retract my public comment request right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. And then last on the list, Reese McGovern.
I'm sitting here. Am I able to be heard?
Yes, the microphone's right there.
Okay, great. Yeah,
And I'll need you to state your name and your address.
Right.
Sorry, that's just the rules.
my name is Reese McGovern. My address is 122 Chapman Street.
Thank you.
And I am coming at this as somebody who grew up in Greenfield 30 years ago, and has now lived around the world and is back because there's so much that I really value and cherish about this town. In particular, the community solidarity that exists here. And I think that if we are having members of our community who are not safe, not housed, and not able to know if their lodging is going to be available day to day, that's a failure of care on the community municipal side. And obviously, if that is happening now and was happening 30 years ago, whatever we have been doing is not working very well. So I'd really love to see us get creative with some solutions and try and come up with something that's a little bit more rooted in what people are actually asking for, rather than what sort of seems like a good idea from the side of people who maybe have never experienced homelessness. Especially because right now in particular, we all are one bad injury or loss of job away from being in the same position. That's all.
Great, thank you. Thanks for sharing. So I'm gonna go to online and
I don't see anybody who put in.
anyone who is, oh, I see Stephanie has their hand raised, so
Yep.
I did put my name in the meeting chat. I don't know if it was.
I think it's blocked, but that's okay. Your hand was up, so go ahead, Steph.
Okay, Stephanie Duclos, Precinct 8, 166 Chapman. So I do have a lot of concerns about the housing issues as the homeless community has become my neighbors. And I'm wondering if this is going to be the only focus on the community relations, because I have a lot of other issues and concerns regarding my neighborhood, specifically some environmental concerns, flooding concerns, and elevated crime and traffic concerns specific to my neighborhood. So I'm just wondering if the community relations committee is going to only be focused on the housing issue, and that's all we're doing all across every single board of this city, and seems to ignore some of the other concerns that are happening around. I also have a real concern about increased energy costs lately. Delivery charges have exponentially risen, and my bills are outrageous. My use is down from last year and this time last year, and even month to month. And I'm seeing bills 4 times the amount of monthly payment I'm used to. I fear that other people might have that same concern, given their energy, whatever their energy producer is, whether it's oil or gas or electric. I just see across, and WWLP has covered some stuff about these delivery charges, and I wanted to know, like, are we going to be advocating on behalf of the citizens against these agencies, these utilities? Because energy costs can also drive you out of a home. It's not just about paying rent. If you see your energy went up your bill 4 times, and you're doing everything you can to conserve, those on fixed incomes or, limited incomes, that's going to push them right out of their homes. And, you got to pay for the rent, but you also got to be able to heat and cool your home. So I have some real concerns if we're only going to focus on housing, that there's a lot of other things that are happening in the city that I really think need to be addressed. And I'm really hoping that that's not the only focus of this committee this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on virtual who wants to be part of public comment? All right, so I'm just looking at the time. It's 6:12 and we're gonna end the public comment period now. So thank you, everybody, for sharing. And to respond to Stephanie's question about the focus of the committee, as we talked about last time, we're setting up a special task force, which we're talking about tonight, which is why we're continuing the conversation about housing and unhoused community. That is not our sole focus, so we will be taking on other issues as you know, we're hearing from public on what are issues of concern. Last time we talked about so this will come to new business, but having feedback from 3 precincts at a time each quarter. So I want to talk about the schedule on that. So the next thing on our agenda is communications from department heads. So we don't have anybody lined up for this month, but we'll start doing that again as we deal with different issues that come up. So the first motion in front of us is a proposal for the formation of the Greenfield Unhoused Community Review Committee and ad hoc committee of the Community Relations Committee. So can I have a motion to recommend this? So moved. Thank you.
I'll second.
Great. All right. And now we can have comments and talk about it. So.
And who drafted this in? So what were you thinking, especially about who would you invite as the appointees? What kind of people were you thinking about?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the way it's set up right now, it's an ad hoc committee that would be 3 people appointed by the chair of this committee and then 2 mayoral appointments. And that their charge is to have recommendations or report that comes back to the committee, and we didn't specify a time period for doing that. I think as I think about who to recommend, it's people with lived experience. And because there are so many agencies that are dealing with housing, poverty issues in Greenfield, those folks are like at a ton of meetings. I don't think we need to like reinvent the wheel and have the same people over and over that are on other committees. But there may be other community organizations that we want to tap and have representatives. As far as the mayor's appointments, I mean, I would love somebody from the police force. Somebody. Because of the safety concerns and making sure that you know, it's part of the conversation, both from people who feel unsafe because they're unhoused and other folks who feel unsafe by the housed community for good or bad, right? So we got to have a conversation, not just talk over each other. Library, you know, there have been issues in the library. So somebody, it could be from the Friends group of the library. So those were the folks I was thinking from. But Sarah and Councilor Brown and I have had some conversations and has some suggestions of folks.
There definitely has been issues with the library for folks in general. Wi-Fi boxes, they're less likely to allow people to almost use Wi-Fi boxes right now.
Like there's you can't check out Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Or if you don't have an
unless you were
address.
like, you have to officially be a resident of Greenfield right now due to what the homeless are doing with Wi-Fi boxes. They're coming back destroyed or not coming back at all. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's becoming a thing.
and Larry Thomas from Wildflower Alliance was interested in being appointed.
Okay.
Christie was interested in being appointed. Reese is interested in being appointed, so we think we have, I'm interested, I think there's,
Oh, no, yeah, that's great.
Anthony would
I'm
have
just
more
wondering what the
than
pool,
Yeah.
what the,
Yeah.
how the pool was. It
Yeah.
makes perfect sense.
And
Especially from the mayor's side, you know, getting people officially who are part of the official city, you know, structure that happened. But from our side, having lived experiences is a no-brainer.
and a counselor on it, so that there's also like that liaison conversation, so it's not just like
Sure.
up on its own, and then it comes back with recommendations that we can't do anything with. You know, and I know there's a lot that's not in our purview, but we got to figure out how we have these conversations that are like, what do we want our community to be for people? You know, we can't just keep hiding people in the woods.
And also, how do we mend fences? Like Christie, if there's a problem with the Wi-Fi boxes, how can we solve that? Build
Yeah.
trust between the library and the on-house community.
That was what I was afraid of when they came out with the Wi-Fi boxes idea. I was already scared of that, because most of them you can't trust. A lot of us you can, but most of us you can't out there. Like the Wi-Fi boxes, I really will say that was a bad idea. Leaving the homeless to figure out how to get their internet, how to get their Wi-Fi. We're better off figuring out how to get it ourselves for that. Like me and my boyfriend went out, we bought ourselves our generator. That's our electricity. Pretty soon we're gonna go out, we're gonna get ourselves our own Wi-Fi box. That's our internet. That kind of thing, I don't think they need help with. They need help with finding a more secure building or structures that they can take. They need more actual space for those structures. They need reasons to want to live there. They need reasons to want to go out and do things that would make them feel more human.
Right.
Personally. That's why I'm thinking, I mean, again, that's why I think the abandoned buildings would be a good idea, and leaving us to be able to fix those up. I think if we have a reason to feel more human doing these things ourselves, I really think that would help a lot of the issues that we've got right now. But giving things out to help the homeless like that, that's too much. And even I admit that. Right now, that's too much. We gotta help everybody realize that right now they need a stable place of living. And
And that's a
Going out,
full-time job of
stealing
just.
from people and causing chaos is not a way of helping. That's why people like, I know a lot of people that I can trust out of homeless. And I can have us organize those out there for out of who's going out of line and all that. I promise we can do that. So that's why I'm joining here, is I want to help solve it while at the same time, some kind of miracle. Yeah,
Thank you.
sorry.
No,
Yeah.
I asked the questions. I mean.
Are there other folks that anybody else that comes to mind from you, Counselor Brown?
yeah, I think I said my.
Okay, so you got your three, yeah.
You know, maybe the safety commission, but that's kind of a outreach of the police, so I don't know if it really, you know.
Is there, yeah, and I'm also planning to connect with, just Stone Soup Cafe, since I have relationships there, to see if they have any
And
recommendations.
we could also change the numbers. If we realize there's up team amount of people who are interested, we could change the number. I don't know how big you want the committee, but
Yeah, I think 6 or 7 is totally reasonable, because then if someone can't make it, it's still.
just throw it for
Yeah,
And I appreciate that you're creating this and the perspective of relying on lived experience. And yeah, I think it's good for the city if we can think like on a local problem solving, like even though there are so many agencies and people working on these issues, there are gaps.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, local problems.
what are the gaps?
What are the gaps that we can address, like access to public resources, Wi-Fi, water, bathrooms, and needs like a PO box or, yeah, it's like,
Mhm.
and wayfinding signs for resources. Those are some
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
important.
Okay. So these are all great suggestions and good, just good. Do we want to increase the number or
No, well, if we get.
we could start there and
If we
if
get a lot of response.
we could?
Then we could say, okay, well, maybe we should add one or two because this person's very interested, this person's very qualified, and that
Okay.
sort of stuff. But my only other perspective, but it also under the providers out there, there's just the mental health side. That's the part I see a lot for my job is, some people just can't handle living in certain environments and stuff. And that's why they're homeless.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, the big part of it.
Yeah.
There's also the recovery community because a lot of people end up in housed because of recovery issues.
But yeah, I'm concerned that the only places that the camping ban is not enforced are the flood zones, and that last night everyone's stuff washed away and
Yeah.
or is damaged.
That's not the first time that's happened.
And that happens
Yeah.
annually, every
course it does.
spring and every fall. And so,
Just,
yeah, so that feels like, I don't understand, like, that's just causing further trauma and destabilization that.
Yeah, I'll go back and look at the minutes and see how that came about, how they decided where it would be. Maybe Chief Dodge would remember, but I don't remember how that came about. It was before.
yeah, definitely before our time.
And,
And I know that often when people are camping and often like the power lines, like Eversource, of course, doesn't permit that. And then the policy for evictions is a couple days and people can't really pack up that quick and have to figure out where to go. So I think something about camping and zoning and figuring that out would be beneficial.
And then the complaints we got from that organization, I don't want to mention it publicly, the email we got earlier this summer from that group who were not happy with the Green River encampments and stuff. So there's a part of it too, where it got different factions,
Great.
complaining about, who's where, why, that sort of stuff, and the results of and
Yeah, because we don't want,
stuff flowing down.
yep. Yep.
Also, the Warming Center needs more volunteer staff, so that can be another topic, and community economic development is working on that.
Yeah.
And they offer to be a resource with this committee.
Do you all feel like, because the motion is pretty simple because I wanted to like,
Get it rolling.
yeah, and give you guys a lot more room. And I was afraid if we got too specific of like, these topics are going to be covered and you need to have your report done by this date. I just didn't want to stymie. So,
So the group can set its own parameters,
okay. So
and
because
decide,
if you all are comfortable with that.
yeah.
Yeah, I question what the review, I know this is like silly semantics title, but like, the official name was like Unhoused Committee Review Task Force,
Review committee.
Review Committee. And I wasn't sure like what that means, like review committee of,
I was trying to figure out how to say, like, we're kind of reviewing the situation.
like the gaps.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
I know. I was like, how do I?
Yeah.
Would a needs assessment be an appropriate term for that?
I'm not sure if that might make it too, too structured in a way.
People be worried that it has
Yeah.
a more official thing, which is a
Right.
needs assessment, which
Yeah.
I think are.
I would be fine with just unhoused task force, but
Task force.
I won't die on that hill, definitely,
Yeah.
because I think it's totally fine as for right now. That's, yeah,
And I'm perfectly, I like
I
that.
would probably refer it to that regardless, because it's shorter and I can't remember.
But I like the idea of the committee itself,
Yeah,
deciding its own identity and its own,
that's true.
purpose within the structure that we give it.
Yeah.
So it's a breathing, growing, adjusting as they go type of committee. So they're not structured into one or two silos.
we could strike the word review if it was just Greenfield Unhoused Community Committee.
That makes sense to me.
I would entertain a amendment to this.
Yeah, could I make a motion or a suggestion that we amend the Greenfield Unhoused Community Review Committee to read Greenfield Unhoused Community Committee? Strike the word review.
Do I have a second? All right. So then I think we then vote on the amendment and
Oh, no. Okay, sorry. Now I guess I start making more roll call.
Well, okay, is there any more amendments you want to make before we vote?
If we ever want to add more members, will that have to also be roll call voted within us or?
yes, with,
And, but not the full.
I don't, that's a really good question. I don't,
It might be the full council because they had the final say, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so we could make the amendment at the full council.
Because I'm thinking if these three and then Larry and then myself, that's already five. So then maybe we would, and everyone here has expressed interest.
Yeah, but I don't think this is gonna happen Wednesday anyways.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen Wednesday because the mayor hasn't had a chance to really think about, I mean, unless you've had a conversation. with
Why
the
don't
mayor,
we
no.
say that we appoint 5 from the council and, oh,
As many as 5 or no
Oh, I like
more than
that.
5?
yeah, up to 5.
That's
Yep,
perfect.
up
Good,
to 5.
nice strategy.
And then the mayor, do we want to give the mayor the ability to?
She can report back, then we could amend that.
Okay,
When we make the final vote at council,
Three
because who knows what she's gonna say, you know?
Can I have somebody, so let's rescind the amendment,
I rescind.
which I think, that's you,
Oh, sorry.
Counselor Perry, since
Could
you,
I rescind the motion I made a few minutes ago regarding the removal of the review title?
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. I'm not great at Robert's rules, but I want to make sure that we're following it. And I know Stephanie's on here and she'll get me if I do it wrong.
Yes, I will.
And it's not with ill intent, Stephanie, you know.
So now I have to make a second amendment,
Yes,
making both motion, I'm making a motion for both changes.
yes. So,
Madam Chair, can I make a amendment to our suggestion that we change the name of the Greenfield Unhoused Community Review Committee to read Greenfield Unhoused Community Committee? And that we change the committee will be comprised of the following appointees, 5 members to be appointed to the city council president, by the city council president, to read the committee will be comprised of the following appointees, no more than 5 members to be appointed by the city council president.
great. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
No,
All right, let's vote on, so all in favor of the amendment? Aye. Great. The motion passes, and then for good measure, I'm gonna just then go back to the original motion, which was the first thing on the floor. And then we will vote on the full motions
all right,
with the amendments.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, so all in favor of the amended motion?
Aye.
Okay, it passes. Great. So we will be recommending to the full council this proposal to form the committee.
Yeah, but I'm not sure when, because do we have to wait for the mayor to decide who she wants?
No, so
All right.
that can happen after the
Okay,
fact, so that's all
All right.
fine.
all right.
Great.
Tried to model this after previous ad hoc
Yeah.
committees.
Are you
Okay.
beyond the 5-day rule?
No, because it's on the agenda, so the amendment's okay.
And can I ask, like, will the ad hoc task force be meeting here with, like, recorded or what?
That is a great question. And I don't know how we've done other ad
Ask the
hoc
city- We can
committees.
ask the city clerk that
Okay,
Wednesday. Yeah, I think ad hoc meetings are taped, and I think it's the same requirements, open meeting laws.
Probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
That would be my guess. So Tam,
because it's a function of this committee,
correct.
you know, so.
Thanks.
And I think a really good question for us in that is like, where are spaces that feel welcoming? Because I don't know if this building feels welcoming to folks from unhoused community. So.
Yeah.
I know they're working on the library and the after hours ability to use the building.
Yeah, but the library may have the same issue for some people
I know.
on the other side, but also the fire departments come online, so that might be or even, is the police zoomed ready yet? Do you know?
I don't believe so.
Okay, yeah, so we'll have to figure that part
I know the
out.
fire department is.
Yeah,
And that building's out of the way. I mean, once we get
Yes.
the
It's- I
downtown
mean, it's
space.
prohibitively far,
Yes.
to get there, especially if you don't have reliable transportation.
So that's something to think about. Okay. And then the next item on our agenda is discussions. It says that the time of posting new topics were reasonably anticipated by the chair. I am picking up on previous discussion, which I think we're okay with on open meeting law, to just talk about having public hearing, meet and greets for each of the precincts. And what I mapped out, if this sounds reasonable to everybody, that 1 through 3 could do it at our next meeting in April. And then the next kind of quarter would be May through August, and that would be precincts 4 through 6. Maybe waiting till June, if that sounds reasonable to everybody, just because we're gonna be in budget season, and people might want to be talking at this meeting about budget stuff as well. And then the next, the last quarter is September through December, and that would be precincts 7 through 9. I don't know, October, like, that's.
and we just have to find a way to make sure we promote it, so maybe using Matt Conway in the communications office, make sure we promote it so people are aware of it.
Exactly. And obviously try and get the counselors from those precincts to be able to come.
What?
So,
And
Oh, I'll be here anyways.
should we get
Yeah.
one for all the at-large?
No, because they represent, right? I mean, they could come to anyone they wanted to.
I think that's what we had.
Like all the at-large are at their own event? Or
No, that
put
they,
one at-large
They-
in
they
each?
just-
yeah, because that way we
Okay.
help work with not having a quorum.
Oh, okay.
So we'd have to assign. So I think we could then, that's good. We're thinking this through.
Yeah.
Maybe we ask them their first choice availability and then try and,
Or there's an issue within a precinct that we're specifically interested in.
It's true.
Precinct center is the fairgrounds, the cell tower, some of the other precincts, the precinct 5 has the railroad issue going on down Hope Street and stuff.
yeah,
So
which I think is resolved, maybe.
hopefully, but nothing's ever really totally resolved.
I know, everything comes back.
Yes.
Everything comes back. And I know we talked about this last month, but we're a small enough group. So if there are some bubbling up issues in the community, what are they so that we can start mapping them out for future community relations meetings? So I heard Stephanie, just affordability.
Environmental issues around her home space, the crime issue in that precinct area, and the flooding issue.
Yeah, and
Art Street turns into a lake whenever it rains, so.
well, and there's some other there's
Yeah.
some other issues of flooding in other places in Greenfield, so I think a discussion on flooding could be a really fruitful discussion. Okay, and then kind of energy costs.
On that topic, I know that Greenfield, Carol applied for the energy manager for Greenfield to have a grant to pay someone to do that role.
Okay,
But then we didn't get the grant, but then FERCog said that there are other ways that we could still. There's other funding sources that could still pay someone to help get homeowners on Mass Save, and that's eligible if you're a renter or a homeowner.
okay.
So I think-
And the governor was also addressing it. I don't know how far she's gonna get with it, but she made a big statement about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's like, because that's, it's a, you know, with the governor that works on the rates, so
Yeah,
we don't have a lot of power in Greenfield but we can at least back up the governor to do that. So that's issue. Let me just look at my notebook, see if there,
Better communication between what's happening with council and the public. I don't have ideas concretely, but just I'm open to like AI transcripts of meetings. I don't know how people feel about AI, but like I feel like just some ways that people can stay in the know without attending meetings that they can't make it to. And it's hard to wait until the notes are posted much later.
mm,
And even the recordings are posted later, and then you have to sit through recording. So some way of like more updates.
so I'm hearing,
Zoom
I
has
wrote down,
capability to transcribe every meeting. I think it can be done on your end with.
I know that, thank you, Stephanie, the Zoom does have its own transcript service.
yeah, but still, yeah, you're still gonna, put it into a Word thing and transfer it. I think every committee and board has a specific person assigned to it to do some of that stuff. We'll have to talk about that with
Yeah.
the mayor's office.
I wrote down transparency though, because I know it's come up, and one thing,
Accessibility.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know as we were working on the virtual meeting as a default permanent, language accessibility was another issue, and I think we haven't figured out like who would provide language services, translation services if we needed it, and how to tackle that. So that is.
Reese does ASL. So that's, if we ever need that.
Excellent. That's,
Hey, on that topic, everybody, just so you know, is the House passed extension of the Zoom meetings, and now it goes to the Senate, and they'll probably vote on it this week.
okay.
There was an email this afternoon from the senator's office.
Well, we're ahead of them.
Yeah,
Great. Well, those are all good.
That's great.
Yeah. So we got some marching orders.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. So yes. Anything
Oh,
else?
sorry, but just,
Councilor Brown.
no, it's okay. I was like going back to the other topic of how often the task force should report to this meeting, whatever. We'll figure it out. I can just be reporting monthly.
Good enough.
Makes sense.
You?
You're already jumping ahead.
Oh, dear.
So our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 21st. And
That's a holiday.
it's a holiday, so we need to come up with an alternative date.
And make sure the room is available.
Yes.
I think last time we had a holiday in February, the next week worked. But we'll have to double check that with the meeting room.
Okay. Would for the counselors who are here, the 28th work if that date is available? The other alternative would be go to the to do it on the 22nd. It's Earth Day. But that's also school vacation week, so that may be less good for some.
Yes, probably. Doesn't affect an old guy like me, but.
I don't take my kids anywhere. No. They don't get vacation. That's a luxury. Yeah. Okay, so we're looking at the 28th, and I will check in with Tammy, who knows all. Okay, so seeing that we're at the end of our agenda, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna,
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. You guys should attend the school committee meeting at 7.
Yes,
Should be
I'm gonna
interesting.
drive over there now.
We'll definitely be
Good night.
Good night.